Thank you for watching and listening. I would like to talk about the stepmother and the time that she tried to convince me to go to Indonesia. Again, this all happens before I found out anything about the cult. And so I was having bad luck, one after another after another. It got really so bad when I was in my 20s that I couldn't get up. I was struggling I was losing energy. I was exhausted all the time. That was because a classmate from Indonesia had siphoned my energy. He's an energy vampire, to so that he and his family continue to become rich. So we got to a point where in my 20s that I was struggling to find jobs, sending resumes and things like that. And then one bad job after another after another. So his stepmother came to me and said, "Hey, why you always have bad luck, right? And you always have trouble getting jobs, and that even you get jobs, the job is not good, things like that. Why don't you follow me? Why don't you meet this Wah? He lives at Jakarta. His house is in the middle of the forest. It's a kampong house. It's surrounded by forest. And it's good for you and things like that." So at that point, because I was like desperate, it was like too many bad things that kept happening. You know, I almost wanted to go. But because at that point I had a part-time job, then I couldn't take leave. So I decided, you know what, I will just give it a miss. I was really lucky because the WA that was in Jakarta that she kept trying to convince me to go was actually the witch doctor that has been helping her, the dark witch doctor that has been helping her all these years. And if I had gone, nobody could help me. Basically, I would die because they wanted to do the rituals over there, like the last step. Let's seal the deal. Let's get her into that into our territory, and it is easier for us to manipulate. Because if I were to go there, I'll be gone. I don't really know the place well, and probably the people surrounding were all part of the of were all in on it. And then to the people out there who keep telling me that oh, you have committed a sin because we did white magic, we consulted mediums, we consulted people of different religions. you know it's high time for you to come to terms with that. People find help as long as they're genuine and high vibrational. I don't think it should be an issue. And let me tell this, I grew up being shamed and humiliated so much, too much pressure by people who are like the religious police. They call themselves, they like to police other people, right? They liken themselves to religious police because unnecessary shaming, unnecessary bullying is a turn off. It really pushed me away. And one of the reasons why we couldn't get help, or we tried, been trying to get help. Initially, we followed the Muslim way. We tried to find until we went to one of the mosques at the it's somewhere near Raffles Town Club. I forgot what's the mosque name. I cannot forget. We went there to ask for help because we were Muslim, so we thought going to a mosque, the mosque that maybe it's an Arabic mosque, they would know better because they understand language better, right? We were chased out of the mosque. The man told us to get out. He stretched his arm and pointed to the exit. You get out. You don't pray, you get out. So that was the last time I bothered to find help from Muslims, because unfortunately, too much of people like that. Too busybody people. When we ask for help, instead of pointing us to the right direction, they just want to find out, and then they start judging you, start humiliating you, start shaming you, or rather they just want to know all the story, all your businesses, so that they can have something to talk about, something to gossip about. So that's one of the reasons why eventually we just stopped getting help. And when we tried to get help, I went through psychics instead. And There's a learning curve. Some psychics, people have different abilities. Some are accurate, some are not. So for all of those out there, you're very dismissive. You are the reason why people continue to suffer unnecessarily. So over time, we learn to stop talking about it. Don't talk about it as much, or even if we do, it's just for a few minutes and then we stop because people start shaming you, start calling you crazy. And I met a friend at a part-time job I worked at, talking about this, and then apparently because she's from Malaysia, so she knows. She's not a Muslim, by the way, and she managed to guide me to meet uh, a medium. I'm not too sure whether he's Buddhist or Taoist, and yeah, he was the one who told me to be careful of my mother, the person I called mother, which is turned out to be a stepmother, not a biological mother, and told me not to eat or drink anything. Even the friend told me not to eat or drink anything because apparently she had been putting things in my food to make me sick, and which explained the reason why I was constantly sick. Always having stomach ache, always having fever, and you go to doctors. Like, how many times can you go to doctors? They'll tell you the same things: fever, flu. But it makes no sense for you to keep getting sick. And when I was younger, especially, I had fevers for 3 weeks. Only brought to the doctor once, and come to find out, it was because she had been poisoning me the whole time, and I still managed to survive for some reason. Albeit it affected my health greatly. I became more and more exhausted. My body couldn't keep up with my mind. And in hindsight, my body was warning me, was trying to tell me that we had something was wrong. So stop with that only your religion is correct. Stop with shaming people when it comes to things like this. If you're not gonna offer help, if you're not gonna point them in the right direction, or at least guide them to find somebody who can assist, then keep your opinions to yourself. Okay, many people have died, many families have torn apart, many people's reputation have gone down the drain because of people like the stepmother in the cult. When they steal all the energy from you, you end up descending into a negative low vibrational path. That's the reason why some people, they end up taking drugs, some of them end up joining gangs. You can only do that when your vibration is low. When you have been manipulated to that point, your vibration has been dragged to that level, and it's something that we all need to be aware of. Just because it's not taught in school doesn't mean it's not true. Just because your parents doesn't teach you doesn't mean it's not true. Just because it doesn't exist in your culture doesn't mean it's not true. Just because you never heard of it before does not mean it's not true. And we were ignorant. We were 100% ignorant, even though our intuition, I always had a feeling somebody is doing rituals or not. I can feel it. I can feel it. But because we were manipulated by the system into thinking that it's not logical, it makes no sense, it's rubbish, it's not scientific. This is what happened. Because spirituality existed way before the education system have existed. And that's the reason why a lot of people suffer for a long time. So if you don't want to help, you can keep your mouth shut, or you can pray for them, or tell them maybe you go to this mosque, you can find somebody, or you maybe go to this temple, you can find somebody. At least point them to the right direction instead of pushing them away and contributing to them being in that low vibrational state. Um, so truth is stranger than fiction. You'll be surprised what people are willing to do because they want to get rich fast. They want to be successful fast and the easy way by cloaking their energy and stealing people's energy. And I worked with people like that. One of the places I worked at, apparently, the colleagues from India were practicing, were doing spell work, paying for spell work to succeed. And it took a long time to find out. And after the health been affected, after I see behavior from the other colleagues who were targeted changed, and new people who joined eventually became like that as well. It's a repetitive cycle. All I can say to the colleagues who do all the spell work, yeah, I'm telling you now, your finances will suffer, your relationship will suffer, your health will suffer, the truth will be exposed. You have gotten away with it for many years. All of you, all of you. This year will be the year that the truth will come to light. Thank you for watching and listening.